Hello friends, my name is Dane Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain. We are your fuck buddies. Welcome to our podcast.
We are a dating and sex advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Simply put, we take any queries we get either from social media that we discover out in the wild or from our good listeners, and we try to answer them.
They don't like to be called queries.
They do. They've reclaimed it.
They probably do.
But this week, we're not doing that.
Okay.
Ben Shapiro's got it.
Yeah, it's true. Ben Shapiro tweeted today that he was taking dating questions. So I always, you know what? This is probably the best thing that's ever happened for my imposter syndrome. Because, I frequently be like, are we qualified to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And then Ben Shapiro thinks he's qualified to do it. So it's like a man who doesn't understand how aroused women function or, aroused people with vaginas function.
Yeah.
Thinks he can give dating advice. It's
all this time where I felt like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have started a podcast that, was it arrogant? Was it dumb? Am I just completely unsuited? No, we're good, baby. Woo woo. And we can take a week off. This is all good. It's all coming up. Fuck buds.
Yeah. Yeah, it was reassuring. I was like, okay, great. Like, if this idiot thinks he can do it, then I can do it. I have probably seen far more genitals than he's ever seen.
And as we know, sex and dating advice prowess is measured only in genitals you've seen.
Yes.
The amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta rack it up. It's like Pokemon. But instead of catching adorable monsters that you fight, it's just getting your eyeballs on some dangly bits.
Yeah. So, I assume you've given WAP a listen, right?
You know what? I actually have only heard the clips of the song that have been, parodied. I haven't listened to the whole thing.
Okay, because you can't think of Ben Shapiro and not think of his just terrible reaction to WAP. However, I want to get your terrible reaction to WAP.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of really good lines in it. There's a lot of really good things in general that does for women's sexuality, and one I do kind of want to write Hard Ass Dick as a parody song because that would be very funny, I think. And I just imagine that if someone had written a song about how hard their dick gets, I don't know if it would have gotten quite the good press. But
I promise you that exists out in the world somewhere.
Probably, but the fact that it's not the cultural issue of the, our hot topic. But I'm just going to hit you with this one line because it did things to me.
Punani. Wait, hold on. You have to make sure that you say the P word. If the word pussy is said, to honor our boy Ben Shapiro, Benny S, you do have to say P word.
So I can't say pussy is what you're saying. I mean, I can't say P word.
Yes, you have to say P word.
I thought you were saying I have to say pussy if it says P word.
No.
Okay, there is no P word, unfortunately, in the line and a half. I'm gonna read just 2 lines, right?
Okay.
My head game is fire, punani dasani. It's going in dry and it's coming out soggy.
Mm-hmm.
So, any thoughts?
I don't think I would. Just because something is wet doesn't mean it's soggy.
Well, okay, thank you. Okay, but what is the... Because they're talking about a dick goes in dry and it comes out soggy. What is, the essence of being soggy?
It's a texture thing. It becomes mushy and that.
That's exactly. It's like a structural integrity thing.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want my dick to come out compromised, right?
No,
If it can be mushed by a wayward or it's just gonna fall apart. Soggy is such a terrible word.
Yeah, I don't want soggy to ever be an adjective associated with my penis. To be honest, I don't want it associated with any part of my body, but particularly my penis.
Yeah, soggy is such a terrible word.
Because, think about it. It's if you think about wet bread, the second you sort of pick it up, it all falls apart and crumbles. Yeah. Imagine that happening to your dick.
There's structural damage. Soggy isn't a, an outside thing. It's gotten in. It's invaded every part of you. I'm glad you're on the same wavelength.
Arguably, it's irreversible.
Oh, you can't unsoggy something.
Yeah, you can't. Once something is soggy, it really it's never going back the way it was.
No, I just that one bit it got me.
I mean, like I've seen people talk about like various things. I've heard clips of it and stuff. And it's like I have my problems with it. I don't really think it's the beacon of women's sexuality that everyone seems to make it out to be, because there are
No, but
still
like it doesn't have to be the one, considering like just like people are weird about female arousal and female pleasure and just like p
and
words in general.
yeah,
So it's like,
and like female desire to have
yeah,
sex as well.
exactly.
Yeah,
So get out there and just be like, yeah, I'm wet as fuck. Hell yeah, I'm down to fuck. I like sex. It's great. I love it. But I don't want my dick to ever get soggy.
no, please, please, Cardi B,
Please, Cardi, don't bring
please.
your powerful vagina and its soggy magic.
Yeah,
Oh man, someone just tweeted us saying they think WAP stands for worship and prayer, and I 1000% cannot tell if they're taking the piss.
they 100% believe that.
Yeah,
This
well,
is this is like angry white women retaking WAP.
they're gonna be.
Like this
Oh,
is like they're so offended by
the
black
thought of
women
like,
talking about sexuality that they need to be like, no, no, no. We need to change the letters. We will have no p words in this house.
oh man, we're older than Cardi B, yeah?
Okay.
I thought she was way older than us. All right, will I hit you with a thing?
Yeah, hit me with a question.
So,
Or more Cardi B trivia if you want. No,
uh,
okay, now I'm curious. How old is Cardi B?
Cardi B was born in 92. This is by Throw RA 767676767676. My female 20-year-old boyfriend, male 22-year-old of 3 years, got a FaceTime last night from a group of his drunken girlfriends, asking him to show them his fat dick. Title just about sums it up. Forgive me if I'm making formatting errors. Blah blah blah. So my boyfriend Nick and I have been together for 3 years. He's super nice, caring guy, and I've never had any serious doubts about things until last night. As the title says, last night while he was with me on my place, he got a FaceTime call from his friend M. M has known him a lot longer than I have. They grew up together, so I always respected their friendship. I've also met M many times. She was always super nice to me and super fun, and we follow each other on social media. I've never had any reason to dislike her or disapprove of their friendship. So, in all honesty, her FaceTiming my BF somewhat late at night didn't raise immediate alarm bells. However, before he answered, he warned me M was on a beach trip with a few other girlfriends. There were 3 other girls, 4 total, including M. Without getting too carried away, I'd like to add context. Obviously, my BF is 2 years older than me. M and her 3 friends are closer to Nick's age, 22, 23, whereas I am yet to be 21. Including that info to also express the fact that M and these 3 other girls, my BF, all went to school together, all in the same grade through high school, maybe middle school as well. Point being, they've known him for quite some time. They also know he's been dating me for 3 years, in italics, as these 3 other girls follow me on social media like M. I've met them a handful of times, but he's not as close to them as he is with M. I guess the best way to summarize is they're M's friend, but because they all went to school together and are the same age, they're fairly good friends. Anyway, he tells me she's FaceTiming him. He tells me she's with these 3 other friends. They're at the beach. I said he should answer them. They're probably having a good time and just want to tell him about it. He answers. And her 3 friends all immediately start screaming my BF's name. Then they begin to scream his name, followed by, "Show us your fat dick!" They were clearly hammered, but I was mortified. What the fuck? My boyfriend seemed pretty shocked too, told them he was with me, and asked what the fuck that was about. They had a mix of explanations. They're drunk. They meant to call someone else. It was an accident? Question mark. I'm really struggling because I'm so shocked and confused. I realize I can't blame my boyfriend because it's clearly not his fault, but at the same time, I do not understand why these girls, these women actually, were all fucking adults, would think it was appropriate to say this to someone who's been in a committed relationship for years. Doesn't make sense. I'm also struggling because it makes me wonder if my boyfriend has created an atmosphere where these women think acting this way towards him is okay. I feel like he would never do something like that, but I'm at a loss. Why would they think it's okay and only stop when Nick told them he was with me? Also, for what's worth, I'm upset with these women too, obviously. We didn't hang out often, but I'm upset the few times we did, they were nice to me, and then they do something so vulgar and inappropriate. I just don't understand. I'm also upset at the fact they didn't produce a single valid explanation. Clearly, they explain this fat dick. Which fat dick do you want to see? Clearly, they did not mean to call someone else. They gleefully screamed his name. How was that an accident? Whole incident happened at 11. I fell asleep shortly after. When we woke up, we talked about it briefly and then left for work. Am texted him and said something along the lines of, "Nick, you're being weird. We were just really drunk. Tell original poster we're sorry." They were hammered. It was obvious. I don't understand why they did it, though. I've been inebriated, and never have I FaceTimed someone's boyfriend of several years and asked them to show me their penis. It just doesn't add up. Nor does it add up that Am said Nick was being weird. How is he acting odd? I think WTF is a pretty standard response unless they're used to him acting a different way. The only person I've talked about this was my best friend. She knows Nick well and thinks these women were probably just wasted. She agrees she would never do something like that under the influence, but some women will. I suppose they could be right, but I have a hard time making peace with it because I would never do that, and these women are 2 to 3 years older than me. I'm sorry for the long post rant. I'm upset and confused. I would love to shake it off, but it really shocked me to my core. I can't stop hearing their four voices in the choirs of "Show us your fat dick." Can't get over it. What the fuck was that? So yeah, any advice or perspective, appreciate them at a total loss.
So the most important thing wasn't talked about, and that is whether or not Nick actually has a fat dick.
So there is an edit and an update later on, and Nick does in fact have a fat dick.
Okay, because I was gonna say, like, if he didn't have a fat dick, it would just be drunk girls yelling shit. But the
Or
fact that they
bullying.
know that he has a fat dick lends itself to, like, well, how do they know about his fat dick?
That's
Right? Because if we're talking a particular, like, a sizable dick that is, something that could be like, oh, this is a defining attribute of your penis, um then it stands to reason that one of them has seen the dick
or heard of the
or heard
dick.
about it.
And
Um,
like, let's be fair, they all grew up, they all went to school together. They probably know someone Nick's hooked up with.
that's true.
And even if they did, does it really matter?
No, I mean, like,
Like,
I
if
I
they,
get it. Like, I understand why she's, like, perturbed by this. You
kind
know what I
of,
mean? Like if your girlfriend had a birthmark on, a sensitive area, and like a bunch of drunk dudes FaceTimed her at 11 being like, "Show us your heart-shaped birthmark on your pussy. Show it to us." You would be like, "The fuck?"
yes. However, that's also different. You know what I mean? If they were like, show us your big tits, and their tits were big, it would still be like, okay, but it's also pretty much like, I love how this person is so confused by them yelling something like this over Skype or whatever because they were drunk. It's like pretty much the only thing people yell when they're like drunk and young and dumb and like calling people. And 9 times out of 10, it's not even serious. It's like when you pick up the phone when you're 20 and your friend is like, "Come back to bed, Niall." You know, like people do
Yes.
dumb shit like this over like calls, and it's like to then fall into such like a deep spiral of like it doesn't make sense because they're 2 to 3 years older than me, which means he must have created a scenario where him showing his fat dick to four girls is normal.
No, like, I mean, I definitely understand what you're saying, and I'm definitely leaning on that side of being like, it's don't worry about it, it's not that big of a deal. But like, I do understand, like, she's definitely gone off the deep end a little bit, like worrying about the, like, age difference and everything like that has nothing really anything to do with anything.
Mhm.
Um
Especially when it's so minimal as well.
yeah, but like, I would 100% be uncomfortable to then, like, again, if a group of dudes hammered, FaceTime my girlfriend in like the middle of the night and said something, not easily to know about her physical anatomy. Because, like, with your example of the boobs, like, you could look at someone fully clothed and know
Mhm.
roughly the size of their boobs. You know what I mean? But to, like, most people can't look at a dude and be like, fat dick, normal dick, not so normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even fat dick isn't necessarily like it's a funny, trendy term. And like these days, like if someone was like, "Oh, show us your big dick," like yelling it out, they wouldn't necessarily. You wouldn't jump to like, "Wait a minute, that dick must be if it is big, so therefore they must know." Like I feel like it's something someone would just yell out. And I feel like
Maybe.
these days, maybe fat dick is more likely to be yelled out than big dick.
But either
You
way,
know?
to then be like, cool, I've now got to, like, be in social situations with these people who may or may not know about my boyfriend. Yeah, like, it does add an air of uncomfortability to the situation. You know what I mean? Like, I would be awkward around people who said something like that to my partner.
Yeah, I could. You know what? It's funny because, and I know it's not necessarily fair or even necessarily makes sense, but I can see it being more offensive when guys are doing it to girls than girls doing it to guys. I think a lot of that stems from like girls are used to being like catcalled and like
Cat
having
called,
guys
yeah.
be really like fucking vulgar sexually to them. Whereas like when girls do it, it's usually either a joke or in a friendly, you know what I mean? It's like you don't yell at a stranger and harass them. It's usually like between friends or like
Yeah.
as a joke. So I think maybe that's throwing me off and maybe it shouldn't. So for me, I can definitely see why something dumb like that happened, and I doubt they actually meant it. Like maybe they just heard he had a fat dick, or maybe they were just saying fat dick because it's a funny term, or saying just show us your dick is not as like funny. I very much doubt they actually expected him to like pull his dick out. I think they were all just drunk and yelling dumb shit.
That's the thing. It's like it's one of those things where when I was in quarantine, a friend of mine, actually more of like a friend of a friend, like I'm friends with her, but like I only know her through another friend, and the only time I've ever really hung out with her is when I was with that friend. She FaceTimed me, and it was her and her husband, who I've never met, absolutely fucking hammered,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "We saw you online, and I wanted to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, what's up?" Yeah, and so like that's probably like you said, that's probably what happened. Like they were probably like fucking hammered. They were on their phones, saw that you were online, and were like, "Boom, let's FaceTime him." And
Yeah.
then someone was like, or mentioned your name, and someone was like, "Oh, I heard he has a big dick."
Mm-hmm.
And then someone was like, "Let's call out."
Or like maybe it was a thing in high school where they like heard about it and like ragged him for a little bit and he got embarrassed because like it could be even something as simple as that, which is a lot less awkward and a
Well,
lot less whatever,
you'd
right?
imagine he would bring that up as a defense if this, you know what I mean? Like if this was a thing that they've done all of, like he would probably be like, "Oh, it's a stupid thing they used to do to me in high school,"
Yeah, maybe.
rather than being like, whatever he's currently doing. So
But like
advice, my thing is like, you need to talk to your boyfriend and be like, "Hey, I'm uncomfortable with this, and I kind of like I don't want to tell you not to be friends with these women anymore, but I need some assurance that there are boundaries between you."
honestly, like my first thing would be to not overreact because like your boyfriend didn't do anything sketchy. It wasn't like he was trying to like run into the other room or like cancel the call or like, it's not like he had this like fat dick showing relationship with these people where he was like, "Oh no, you're finally here." Like it's not his fault. And don't think that he fosters a relationship where this is whatever. Like they probably are just chill with each other and can make jokes and that's why they didn't feel uncomfortable making this thing, which again, yeah, we can get why you're upset, but like don't put it on him because it doesn't look
Here's the
like he's
thing:
done anything wrong.
you need to
And
remember that, like, have you ever bragged about his penis size to any of your female friends? I'm positive you probably have, and
well, she
therefore your
bragged about it
friend,
to the internet right after. So yeah, now everyone
you know what I
knows
mean?
he has a fat dick.
So it's like you said, he probably hooked up with either one of them or someone in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and people talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like
It
it's
also
it's
could be a
probably public
coincidence.
knowledge. I mean, I think that's a stretch. I think they know one
Well,
way or the
it's if
other
it's
that
that
he's
fat,
got.
it's going to be a stretch, Dane. But like I think first step is not to overreact. Second step is not to punish him for what someone else did drunkenly, and then third step is like, you know, as you said, Dane, like talk to him. He seems to understand why you would feel uncomfortable, and like just talk it out. Make sure that there's nothing to be worried about. And I'm sure these people probably feel like idiots because I doubt they meant it sincerely, and I doubt they intended to embarrass you or put anyone in an awkward thing. I think they were just being dumb and drunk.
That's the thing. It's like when you're hammered, no one thinks really about consequence. You know what I mean? No one. They were probably just like, let's tell. Was it Nick? Like, let's ask Nick to show us his dick. No
Well,
one was
apparently they
probably
called
like,
a
hey,
bunch of their friends and were yelling shit like that as well. That's what they said
oh
in the update. So it was like, but she was like, I don't know, because they said that they tried to call someone else, but they said his name. And it's like, yeah, they backtracked and were like, oh shit, we upset her. Like, let's not get Nick in trouble.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I think that is the key. There is that they were trying to protect your boyfriend because they know they fucked up.
Yeah.
So like that means that like they're not doing anything nefarious. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Also, like if you wanted to be sneaky about it, you wouldn't be on FaceTime and screaming.
No, you wouldn't.
So like he's obviously not up to anything mischievous.
Hmm.
They were fucking just made dumb, stupid, drunk decisions, and you are kind of caught in the middle of like this ball of, overreactive anxiety, and you just kind of like need to level out and realize all the things that are currently in play and be like, okay, this isn't a big deal.
Yeah. All right, hit me with that fat dick.
You know what? Since we're talking about the appearance of genitals, this comes from Reddit user my name that is Emma. Is the appearance of a girl's vag a factor in sex? Might be a silly question, but I gotta ask: are guys at all conscious/bothered about the appearance of a girl's vagina and vulva, especially during cunnilingus? Because there's a lot of ladies out there with big vaginas, with a lot of meat, and it's something women are insecure about, just as guys are insecure about dick size. But I don't know if it matters, or if there's a standard of attractive vagina, the way that there's an acceptable standard of dick size, which I know there isn't as a woman, but is it the same for men?
I would say not at all.
Here's a question for you. Have you ever come across a particularly unique looking vagina?
Not really. All the
Because
vaginas I've seen are like, you know, like they're different, but like they're all just vaginas, right? Like nothing that's given me pause, right?
yeah, I mean, like I've read and seen pictures of people with like, large labia, um, but I've never sort of encountered them in the wild when I was single.
There's nothing
Um,
wrong with a large labia either, right?
but
Like
that's the thing,
it's
yeah.
just like a vagina, right? Like you know,
I imagine there are people who have preferences. I'm sure there are people who aren't a big fan of it. The same way that like some women aren't a fan of like uncircumcised or circumcised. You're allowed to have preferences. You know what I mean? Like as long as they're not manifesting in a toxic way.
well, as far as I know, and as far as I've seen, the difference between vagina to vagina does not stack up to the difference between penis to penis, like visually at
Yeah.
the very least, right? Like
Sure.
you
Yeah.
could have wildly different penises in terms of like length and girth and like, being cut or uncut and like
Yeah.
bending certain ways and, all this shit. Like, I don't think you get that same like very obvious like difference visually in vaginas. And like I've seen a lot of vaginas and some are different to others and they're all fine. Like I
Yeah.
and I've never heard any guy I've ever met talk about a vagina looking weird ever. And
Yeah.
I
I've seen
know
posts, but in my experience, yeah, I would agree. It's like I've never heard anyone in my real life be like, I couldn't do it, man.
I've
I
never even
couldn't.
heard someone complain or even mention it. Like never be like, "Oh, it was a bit weird," ever. And I've never but on the contrary, how many women have I met who were ashamed of me seeing their vagina or like awkward about it like the first few times? That's a lot
Mhm.
of them. Like so many of them. And it's wild cuz every single person had a beautiful vagina and it was fucking fine and they were so like self-conscious about it. It's actually something I hate. Like I really wish people didn't feel that way because it sucks, for them, for their partner, for their own pleasure, because like you're never going to really get into it if you're like terrified that they're down there having the worst fucking time, right?
Also, like, just in terms of the way that our body is laid out, if I'm going down on you, I'm not looking at your vagina.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like you might see
Like,
it briefly, but like your mouth is there. Your eyes are like, maybe your
yeah.
belly. If you got a weird belly button, that's a deal breaker for sure.
Oh, 100%.
That's what you should be fucking like look at it
You know,
right
I'm
now,
just going to
judge
say it.
yourself. No, don't,
I,
please.
I'm just going to say it right now. If you got an Audi, you're a freak.
You're talking about an Audi clit, right?
I'm talking about Audi everything. If everything on your body sort of just gently protrudes
Mhm.
outward.
Audi kidneys are good. Now the main thing is, so I've been listening. I got like an early access thing to Ben Shapiro's Sex and Dating podcast or
Hmm.
episode. I don't know what he does. I don't give a fuck what he does. I can't even continue to charade. If you're wet, I'm leaving because that's a disease, as he tells me.
Wait, what? I don't, where was I going?
I was making a joke about I listened to his thing and then I said I don't care about him, but I'm still taking his advice. If you're wet, it's a disease and I'm leaving.
Okay. Yeah, I don't worry. Like the same thing with like dudes. Like you got what you got. There's nothing you can do about it. Fucking own it, rock it. Understand that like if someone is into you and wants to have sex with you, they're gonna do it regardless of what's the visual appeal is down there.
What people think is the amount of time someone looks at a vagina and goes, "Ah," is probably like 10,000 times more than what happens in actual reality. Like I think
Yeah,
there's a
or it's just like
spectrum, and it's like
just
98%.
inexperience.
Yeah, well, some people are fucking weird. Like you're gonna get people who think wetness is a disease, a la Ben Shapiro, right? But like, just because somebody has a reaction doesn't mean they're correct. You know what I mean? It's like if someone runs down the street past you and is like, "You're an asshole." Do you take that to heart? Do you go, "Damn, maybe I am a bad person"? Like it doesn't matter what's said; it's who's saying it. And if someone's just either super insecure or an asshole or weirdo, it doesn't really matter what they think. So I would strongly advise against being insecure about your own vagina. If you do have large concerns, like you can go see a doctor, I guess, if you think there's something actually wrong with it. But visually, I'm sure it's fine. All right, this is from Seduction.
Oh no.
Cold approach to girl at the park by I am emotion. Or sorry,
Jesus.
one am emotion. I'm sitting in the park and the girl walks by. I ask her if she could do me a favor and take a picture in front of the sun, so she does. I then ask if she'd like to spend the sunset with me. There's 15 minutes left. She rejects and leaves.
Is that it?
That's it.
Was he taking a picture of her in front of the sun?
I
Or
assume
him in front of
I
the
assume
sun?
he asked her to take a picture of him in front of the sun.
That's not good photography, man.
Yeah, it was all going well. Like you would have definitely, closed or whatever the fucking seduction term is. But then you ruined it with bad mise en scène. Or is that just
I
for
mean,
video?
I guess like, you could be going for the silhouette look if you
Oh
really wanted
shit,
to. But like, I think you're just wasting golden hour at that point.
that's true.
Use that light, baby. Get it.
Mm.
I mean, I don't really know what to say about this. It's
Rate his approach, brah.
You know what? I would say from the things I've read of seduction, this is probably on the better end of things because like he didn't be creepy with like his I'm
He
I
didn't
mean,
tell us if he was creepy. I don't know if it's the same as
well,
him not
but
being.
you know what I mean? He wasn't like, "Oh, I just you're so beautiful. I want to spend this beautiful sunset with a beautiful girl." You know what I mean? Like there wasn't any of that shit. If he was just like, "Hey, can you take a picture of me?" and that was his like icebreaker, and then
Mhm.
he was like, "Hey, would you like to watch the sunset with me?" If that's all he said, it's like, well, good try.
But like at the same time, it's like this was destined to fail, right?
Yeah,
And
I'm not saying it was I like comparatively to the other advice I
yes,
am
so
sure he
compared
got
to
in this.
steaming piles of flaming shit, it's just regular shit.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, I feel like people like this, the more of these that happen that fail, the more bitter they get, and then it just like they poison their own feelings towards women, and it just becomes a whole fucking thing. So like, I don't want to ever be like, yeah, well, good shot, I guess, because it was never going to work. Someone's walking by in a park, they're probably going somewhere. You know what I mean? Like even if they wanted to spend the sunset with you, which is a weird thing to ask, um, to a stranger, they weren't. They were going somewhere. Like, and you can't just
Maybe
like,
how do you know? Maybe they were just going to find another bench to watch the sunset alone.
well, there you answered your own question. Alone.
Yeah, but now they've met this charming man who doesn't know how to take pictures.
I just thought it was funny. It's so brief and sad and useless. Don't set yourself up for failure. Don't do this weird shit and these like strange games. Just like go to a place where it's actually okay for you to talk to strangers and talk to them
Where's
normally.
that now? Where's that?
Bars
Yeah. What's
regular,
currently happening in the world?
that you can go inside with a mask to conceal your ugliness, so you're doing better.
Yeah, but how are you going to take pictures in front of the sunset? It's weird. I get it. Considering the other things you've brought from fucking seduction,
Mhm.
I think they're getting better.
Maybe. Well, everyone's like, "Bro, you fucked up. You're so awkward, you loser." So I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know what? I hope this guy sticks with sunsets before he goes into fucking, pulling women into dark corners and throwing them under his sweaty suit jacket.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. All right, do you want me to throw in a different question, or do you want to hit me one?
I got one.
Okay.
This comes from Playful Remote 9. I'm dating a girl who I'm not wildly attracted to, but we are incredibly compatible. It sometimes makes me feel like I'm settling. Is this normal? I worry if I feel this way, I'll regret it later. To clarify, I think she's cute, but I don't have this animalistic attraction to her that I've had with other people. Have people who have been in serious relationships compromised on looks? I haven't been in a serious relationship in a long time, and I've really enjoyed single life in the process. So I'm just trying to figure out if it's my avoidant personality playing tricks on me, or if this isn't normal.
How the fuck am I supposed to answer that? I don't know what this man's thinking. He doesn't know what he's thinking. Like, I think it's probably an issue. Like, if you feel like you're not very attracted to someone, like, you're probably not having a great relationship because a great relationship should be both.
I mean, like, you need to define what compatibility is. You know what I mean? Like, part of compatibility is sexual
Sure.
compatibility
Yeah.
and like physical attraction and like that kind of stuff. Like, if that's not a part of the equation for you, then like how compatible are you? Is it just because you have the same hobbies? Like, that makes a good friend. That doesn't necessarily make a great romantic partner.
As I said, you do need both. So it's like if you're telling us that you're missing one, then yeah, you're probably not going to be set up for the long haul.
Yeah, because eventually, like, you're gonna find someone that you are attracted to who also has the qualities of this person.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And then like, and that at that point, you're just gonna be like, "Bye, I'm trading up," which
You
is a
know,
shitty thing to do to a person.
you know what? Advice right now: break up with her.
Yeah,
And you know why I'm saying that?
because if you don't want to, then you
Yes,
know you're good. Yeah, it's a
exactly, right? You
coin
hear
flip
me right
mentality.
now. You hear me say get spaghetti, and you're like, no, I do want the steak though.
Yeah,
Right? So I'm saying it right now, listener who may not be listening, break up with her. And if you hear that and you go, oh, then maybe she is good enough and you're being weird. Also, like, is it a result of your sexual interactions that maybe you're not feeling it? Like, do you guys not have like a bedroom compatibility, even though she has like a physical compatibility, like visually? Like, maybe you're just not like connecting in that sense. So maybe you guys should try and be a little bit more mindful in the bedroom or something.
well, I mean, like that's another thing. It's like if you're not wildly attracted to them, is sex a chore for you? Because
Mhm.
like if I was gonna sleep with someone that I'm not attracted to, it wouldn't go well, and it certainly wouldn't be fun
No, and it definitely wouldn't happen
for
more than
anyone.
once.
Yeah, you know what
You
I mean.
know?
It's like it would be. I've tried to do things like that where it's like, I've been horny and then like invited like booty called someone I wasn't super into.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And then like the whole time I'm like, I've what did I do? This sucks. And like you're just filled with like guilt and regret and like the other person is picking up on all of that. You know what I mean? That's a
That's
terrible
another
thing to
thing.
do to
It's
someone
like
else.
there's no way they don't know that something's up.
Yeah. So you really need to like sit down and be like, what does compatibility mean to you?
Mhm.
And is the fact that you're not attracted to them going to impact things like your sex life and that kind of stuff? Because if the answer is yes, that like yeah, it's you're not that into them sexually, and that's something that matters to you in a relationship, because like asexual relationships are fine and you can have them and they're normal and healthy. But like if you're not an asexual person
Mhm.
and you just don't want to have sex with your partner, then there might be a problem there.
Yeah. So I think just really consider breaking up with them, and if that elicits strong feelings of nope, then yeah, maybe there's something else missing, and like explore what that could be. Maybe you guys just aren't connecting in the bedroom, and if so, why? Like, have a chat about it. You know, and if
Yeah,
you're really not attracted to them, then like you probably should actually break up to them because, as Dane said, you're gonna find somebody else and bail, and that's gonna suck, or you're gonna half-ass it, and that's gonna suck, and the whole time they're gonna know something's off, and it's gonna suck for them.
yeah. Um, we've mentioned it before. It's one of those things where you have to be like, if you're double if you're double thinking yourself or like questioning whether you want to be in a relationship, you shouldn't be in that relationship. It needs to be a fuck yes or a no. And we've
Hmm.
talked about it 100 times where it's like if you're not in it, then you shouldn't be in it. And it's that simple,
Hmm.
because the second, like you said, you start half-assing, you start phoning things in, you start sort of like taking them for granted, and that's a really shitty thing to do to a person,
Yeah.
let alone to yourself. Like, you deserve to be happy, you deserve to be fulfilled,
Hmm.
and just holding someone to like fill the place until you can find like someone who checks marks all the boxes is a super shitty thing to do to someone.
Yeah. Already?
Yes.
What energy are we going with, Dane?
I don't know, man. This episode's all over the place.
This
It's
is
okay.
my throwaway oopsie. Showed my girlfriend my dick, and now she's mad at me.
Is she your girlfriend? That's my first question.
Whenever there's a celebration where I would get a gift, all my girlfriend ever offers is sex as the gift. We have sex regularly, so it's not much of a gift. I always give her thoughtful gifts, and even when I'm running low on cash, I try and do something special for her. I've told her in the past how it made me feel, and she told me no man will complain about sex. She's really big on reciprocal energy, so I just did the same thing. It was the perfect opportunity because her birthday is 2 months after mine. All day passed and I didn't give her anything. She asked me if I forgot about it, but I told her I had a surprise for her. I tied a bow on my dick and presented it to her. She was fucking pissed. Now her friends and sister keep DMing me telling me how much of an asshole I am. I was being extremely petty, but she wouldn't listen. So yeah, I don't know if I was tripping, but I know it was immature. I don't know how to fix it now.
I mean, that's pretty much fucking brilliant, man.
It's,
That's,
you know what, like, I ain't mad at it.
I mean, like, you recognize it was petty, but like at the same time, what's wrong with it?
Yeah, if your girlfriend is like, hey, no man will complain about sex, but then when you do it, she's like, yo, fuck you. It's like, you tried to talk to her, she didn't listen. Hey, guess what? She gets the picture now. And like,
Yeah, I mean, it's we've got questions like this all the time where it's like where someone's like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I want you to do this, and then the second it's like reversed, they're like, no, I don't want to do that.
yeah,
It's like, well, you can't have it both ways. If you think that giving someone like that sex as a gift is a valid and a good thing to give someone,
mhm,
then you shouldn't be angry when it's given to you in return.
exactly. And like, this question would be slightly different if he had never like broached the subject with her and just kind of like done it and like, maybe there'd be a little bit more. But again, it's like if you're getting it for someone, you should be expecting it back or at least happy to get it back. But he literally told her before, and she didn't care. So it's like you don't have a leg to stand on there at all.
Yeah.
Uh, so, advice.
I think if you want to fix this, you do have to you have to like admit and be like, hey, look, I know I was being petty, but I tried to talk to you, and I thought this would be a good way to like illustrate my point. It's that if you're unhappy with what I'm giving you, then why can't I have the same emotions to what you're giving me?
Mm-hmm.
And if she doesn't understand that, and if that turns into another fight, then I think it's time to reconsider the relationship.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, this could be a blessing in disguise because you guys are either going to talk and hopefully hash things out and be um, on a better footing, or she's going to be like, nah, bye. And like, fuck it. If you guys weren't going to be able to figure out a simple kind of like clash like this, then you probably are better off breaking up. Um,
Yeah, and like I don't know, I don't really like because being like, oh, I want monetary, or what I mean. I want something that's like goods, and that's how you have to show me. Like I understand that like that can be problematic, but if if he's just being like, oh, even when I'm strapped for cash, I like do something nice, which may be dinner or whatever.
yeah.
Um, like if he's just asking for something as simple as like, hey, maybe like on my birthday, you could make me dinner and give me a massage.
Hmm.
Like if that's the extent of what he's at, like if the other thing, like if what the real issue is like, oh, I bought you a fancy handbag, and now in return I want a fancy watch.
Yeah.
Like if that's like, then you guys really need to get your shit together and be like, it means more than that.
Yeah, like you buying a $200 present isn't then an obligation for them to get, you know what I mean? Like that's not
Exactly.
how it works. However, if one side is buying all these presents and the other side for no reason is just not, like again, like there should be like equity to a degree, whether it's monetary or like thought wise, you know what I mean? If one person
Yeah.
gets way more money than the other, and there are all these things that factor in, and we could spitball them for hours, I'm sure. But like if your partner, like if you just want to get out on of buying presents by using sex, like that's bullshit. Like a healthy relationship should have sex in it, if that's, unless you're both asexual or whatever, you know what I mean? Um so it shouldn't be this special thing, and like withholding it or using it in that way is kind of unfair.
Yeah. I mean, like, my favorite gifts have been Amanda once, for one of my birthdays, I believe it was my birthday or an anniversary. She like got frames from either movies that I made or like the posters or whatever of movies that I've made. And she made like a big like film roll, like framed picture of them.
Mhm.
And then on my 30th birthday, she did like a 30 reasons why she loves me on like a little canvas. And it's like my favorite gift of all time. It's the sweetest thing. I look at it and like I still kind of get like all teary eyed when I see it in the bedroom. So like we said, it's like it's an investment in sort of like thought
Mhm.
more than it is investment in sort of like monetary goods. Like you said, it's like if this dude's just balling and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna spoil you with like new shoes or whatever," but she can't do that. She can't reciprocate that monetary value. If she finds something that means something to him, whether
Mhm.
it's watching his favorite movie and making dinner, like that can mean just as much as a $200 pair of shoes.
Yeah, and the thing is, it seems like he knows that, so that's why I know that's not even a problem here.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So asking for a little bit more effort than just being like, "Here's the thing that we do
Yeah, here's sex,
whenever."
I guess.
Yeah, is and it also kind of cheapens the sexual connection
Hmm.
as well. If you just think of it as a commodity,
Yeah.
it kind of like that would bum me out more than anything.
So if your partner like says something to you, like listen to them. Don't try to fucking gender shame them. Like no man would complain about that. That's such a shitty response because one, it's just blind ignorance, but secondly, it's like, oh, if you're complaining, you're not a man. You
And
know?
it's an excellent example of how like toxic masculinity isn't a
Yeah, it's
men
not men on
it's
men
just
necessarily,
yeah. And it's
or
not
men on other people.
yeah, it's not just perpetrated by men. It's like
Mhm.
that comment right there is so rooted, like deeply rooted in toxic masculinity that it then hurts dudes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like that's how the cycle continues. Not to say that it starts with women, but
No, but
um,
it's with everybody, right? Same with like toxic or like misogyny and shit, right? It's not just men who can be misogynist, right?
yeah, yeah, it sucks, and I'm sorry you're dealing with this. I don't think you dealt with it the best way. It was a funny way.
But you
I
also
think
did deal with it the best way.
yeah, I think like I said, you need to sort of like use that as a jumping off point. And be like, okay, why are you upset? And then when she explains why she's upset, be like, cool, I was upset for the same reason.
Mhm.
Why were my feelings at that point not
Not
valid
valid.
to you?
So I have two things to say. One, the best, like the only really like the best advice here is to not let it blow over and be like, okay, let's go back to the way things are.
Hmm.
That's the one thing that cannot happen, right? Whether you guys break up or whether you guys move on, those are both okay. But you being like, I'm sorry, you're right, I'll accept sex and I'll get you presents. That is the only way this can't end. Secondly, can we just imagine how funny it was when she had to go to her friends and sister and explain what happened? Enough that they all started messaging him, calling him an asshole.
Yeah, yeah,
That's just
it's
so
really
good.
good. It's
All
very
right.
good. Let's do one more quick one.
You got one?
Oh yeah. Comes from Teddy Bobetti 23, and they say wearing lingerie for someone new, sexy, or weird. I've been single for quite some time and just so happen to like buying lingerie. I would love to wear it for a man, but I haven't dated much or been sexually active. I recently met a guy, went on a few dates, and the first time we had sex, I put on something sexy for him. His immediate reaction was, "You look nice, but maybe you can buy lingerie just for me." I think he was implying that I wear lingerie for anyone, and that I specifically has worn this for someone else. But in reality, I just have a shitload of lingerie and it makes me feel sexy. Should I stop putting on lingerie for a man because they think I wear the same one for every guy? I was genuinely confused with his reaction, and now I'm a little insecure about surprising a new guy with sexy lingerie.
It's an interesting one because people definitely get into weird like ownership when it comes to like sex related things. And like I get it when it's like a sex toy, you know, like a
Yeah.
dildo or a vibrator or something. I get it slightly less if it's like handcuffs. It's not like they're anywhere particularly intimate usually, but I still get it a little bit more. Lingerie and all that is really funny because if you just wore normal underwear, he wouldn't have been like, ooh, can you maybe get normal underwear with me in future?
Yeah, or even like just the first day, like what her outfit was, be like,
Right?
is that your first date outfit? I would really prefer if you got something new just for me.
Yeah, I'm worried that you might have worn those jeans with another man. So, can you scour all the paint off your home before I come over and give it a fresh paint for when I come by?
Hey, this bedspread, has seen another man?
Ooh, have you recently retiled this bathroom? No, you haven't? Okay, I can't poop here. If you could retile it by the next time I come over, that'd be great.
This air has has a man been in this air before?
Like it's kind of ridiculous, and it's weird because it does, I think, stretch back from things that make a certain amount of sense. Which again, you can wash your sex toy. It doesn't really, and also doesn't really make sense to just keep buying sex toys.
So here's the thing: if you're a dude who pulls out a dildo or a vibrator, I think there is a concern there for women.
Mm-hmm.
But if a woman, like
Yeah, but
if I,
theirs.
yeah, if I went home with a woman and she pulled out a vibrator or a toy and was like, I want this to be used on me, I'd be like, okay, cool, because I assume it is specifically for you.
Mm-hmm.
So cool, you know what I mean? Whereas like if a dude's pulling out toys for a woman, they have no idea whether or not it's been cleaned
Yeah,
properly.
that's fair. And there's also like the implication that it's been used with many people because
Yeah, because he's
unless
not
it's
using
his,
it.
yeah, he might be, but
I mean, he might be, yes.
um, yeah. But even like handcuffs, I've had people like, I had handcuffs after I'd been using them with someone, and it's like, I mentioned to someone once, and they got really weird. They were like, "Oh, you using them with somebody else, though?" I'm like, "Yes," but like,
Yeah.
it
I've
just,
also used my penis with someone else.
yeah, and it could get soggy. These cuffs are metal. There's no way their structural integrity is being
You
broken
have,
down by a
you
vagina.
have no idea what Cardi B could do to those.
That punani Dasani is powerful. And it's like I can kind of understand this like weird like sexual, you want this like sexual originality, right? But it's not like it's a Funko Pop, right? Like the sexual experience isn't being recorded inside it and like held onto for life.
That's the thing. It's like unless you're walking in this just like cum stained, sort of like very obviously used lingerie, then like fuck it. Because like you said, it's like what's the difference between underwear? Like if she has like a really nice sort of like first date undie set that makes her feel confident and
Mhm.
sexy and like shows off everything she wants to show off. It's like, are you gonna be fucking weird about that? I don't get this at all.
No.
Like
Now,
not even from like what you've said, like none of that tracks for me. I do not get it.
so what were his exact words again? Could you reread them for me, please?
Um you look nice, but maybe you can buy lingerie just for me.
Okay. So, as an alternate theory, maybe he just really liked it, and to him, like the idea of going out and like purchasing specific lingerie was like really exciting.
Yes.
You
And
know?
I think that like I think it all comes down to tone, which
Mhm.
unfortunately we don't get.
No. Not
Um
that we don't receive it, just we're unable to process it.
we have no idea what
We
anyone
just guess. We actually have we have a dartboard. We just throw something at it and we're like, "Oh man, this is a really angry listener."
but she does say like I think he was implying that I wear lingerie for everyone. So
Mhm.
like that makes me lead me to believe that like maybe he like the tone was there. But again, people jump to wild conclusions, so I don't know. So
Yeah.
like yes, I think like that could be fun too. Like if someone had a penchant for lingerie, I
Mhm.
would love and I, got along with them and I wanted to continue seeing them. I would love to be a contributor to that collection
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey, that's mine." And cuz like then you can have like a fun sort of like ownership of it where it's, consensual and not toxic. That would be okay with me. I think that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So maybe if
But
you mentioned something like that before, just be like, "Oh, well, hey, if you want to buy me something, by all means, like what do you have in mind?" And if he's just pumped to get you into something specific, maybe it could be cool. And if he's like, "Oh no, I just, it's tainted." Then maybe you need to find a different dude
yeah, because like
cuz that is going to bleed over into other things. Like he's not going to stop at the lingerie. If he ever hears of any guy you've been with, go, he's not going to be happy.
or just like if jealousy is that deeply rooted that he can get jealous over the fact that someone might have seen you in something that you've worn.
Yeah,
Like
that's
how's it going to be when like, your male coworkers, you and him are going for lunch?
yeah, what if they
You know
call you and ask to see that fat clit?
what I mean? It's so stupid and I hate it. And gentlemen, I'm going to say this right now, or anyone really, if someone is trying to do something nice to you and it's very obvious that it's their attempt to appeal to you,
Mhm.
don't be a fucking idiot.
Yeah, don't
Don't
be
be
an
so,
asshole.
don't be so stupid. Appreciate that someone is putting an effort to arouse you. Like someone is
Sexy effort,
actively,
yeah, that's the best
yeah,
kind.
Someone is actively putting in conscious effort to enhance your sexual experience. And the only thing you can think of is, you know, jealousy and maybe I'm not getting the proper treatment. Fuck you. Get out of here.
You ready for red flags?
Let's do it.
All right. It's either start doing drugs or this shit. So here I am.
Hey man, I've been there. That's why I was on Tinder.
All right, give me a
Yes.
rating.
I'm gonna give it high because I'm assuming it's a joke. I think it's funny.
I'll give it a 7.
Yeah.
Okay, so this person's name is Curry Cheese for some reason.
So it's your profile.
Yeah, it is 100%. So I'm gonna throw a dart at the dartboard, and yeah, it seems like this one's angry. Take your fucking glasses off. I don't care who you are or what kind of fish you caught. This is only about looks right now, you wankers.
Yeah, I'd like that one too.
It's so aggressive.
Yeah, but I assume they mean sunglasses.
Oh, okay. I just thought they were like bullying people on like they're like
No, I assume it's like if I can't see half your face, what the fuck's the point?
That's
And
true.
like,
Yeah,
I get it.
Okay, yeah, I'm upgrading my 4 to an 8.
Yeah, like that was one of my big pet peeves was when like it was a picture of a woman and one picture is her like 15 miles away on a beach. And it's like, why are you so far away?
That dot is hella sexy.
Yeah, and the other one is like her in a big sun hat with big sunglasses on. It's like, cool. Well, like the lower half of your face seems okay.
At least it's not dog filter.
Oh God, fucking dog filters.
Okay, you ready for this? This one is for Caroline, or is it?
Is that the red flag?
Disclosure. This account is being managed by Caroline's friend Jennifer. If we chat, you are not talking to Caroline. You're talking to me, Jennifer. Call it a screening process. This online dating world is rough, as you're all aware. I'm just trying to help weed out the crowd. Heart. Put your fucking shirt on.
You need to introduce them to curry cheese or whatever.
Right?
Whoever hated the glasses.
Glasses off, nerd. Shirt on. This is Jennifer.
This is a huge red flag. I once matched with this woman who I was like, oh, you're very, very cute. But I noticed that like every picture had another woman in it.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point I was like, hey, just checking, because it seemed like one of the women who was in it was like, sometimes it was just like half her face. So I assumed it wasn't her. And I was like, hey, just double checking. It's like, who am I talking to? And she's like, well, it's both of us. But it's me. And it was the one that I didn't find attractive.
No.
And she was like, if you gotta kind of like get past me, and
She's
then
like
we'll
the mini
go.
boss.
Yeah, and then it's just like, and then whatever her name was we'll go on a date. I was like, no, I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be like, okay, cool, and you're gonna be like, yeah, great, this is awesome. She's gonna meet you here, and then it's gonna be you, and being like, oh, sorry, she couldn't come, so I figured I would come just not to stand you up. Hello.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So anytime there's any like 2-person fucking
it's weird.
No.
What's your rating then?
Like a 1.
I'll give it a 3 because of the aggression at the end. This is for Chai. And the picture is them lounging in the park with their dog. I'm about to give up my foster dog and I just quit my job, so I'm very depressed. Delight me. If we meet, we'll be masked at all times, no exceptions. And delight me is in all caps.
Yeah. No, I can't even find like the humor in this. Usually it's like when people are that like, I assume it's a joke, but this just seems like, no.
You know what? Like, we've had worse ones on, but I think I'm going to give this 0 out of 10 because, like, I just want so little to do with this.
1, it's not my job to delight you.
No.
2, if you're that paranoid about like dating that you want to be masked at all times, because like, what the fuck are you doing? I guess like go for a walk, because like you can't go for drinks. Not that you'd want to. I don't know. It's
and also like, why are you giving up your dog and quitting your job?
Well, it's a foster dog, so assumably like she's like giving it to a new home,
I guess.
Right? I don't know. Fuck if I know. Either way, I hate it.
All right. This is Anna. Life is destined to be a lonely journey.
Why are you on dating profiles then?
That's it.
I mean, yeah, that doesn't really strike hope for me. That you think that if it's destined to be a lonely journey, then it's like, well, we're not gonna make it. Yeah, no, it's like, again, like I don't like it. I'll give it a 1.
A one? Okay, yeah. That's the thing. It's like there's nothing to even like laugh at. It's just sad. And
Yeah.
like, that's the best you could think of. That's like your like what you want to put out there in text form to represent yourself is that.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this one? Your loneliness, though defeated, is still glorious. Dummies and hooligans, please slide left.
At first I thought it was going to be a Britney Spears lyric.
Your
Uh
loneliness, though defeated, is glorious.
yeah.
Dummies and hooligans, please slide left. Please slide left.
See? It's perfect. I
I
love
listen
it.
to it.
10 out of 10.
Imagine getting here and be like, oh, I am a dummy. Shit.
I would
Or, oh,
yeah.
I'm a hooligan. Do I have
Uh,
to swipe left, slide left? Either. I'm quite the hooligan sometimes.
you're 100% a hooligan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, this one's just so bad. But it's gonna be a 3.
It's a 10 if you sing the song to Britney Spears.
Yes, but she didn't.
You
And the
don't know.
last one, TM. So maybe they're trademarked. We don't know. Actually, did you give me a rating for the last one?
I said 10.
Oh, okay. Well, global pandemic exposing the inefficiency and corruption in every societal institution. Red skies spelling fire and doom and screaming at the human destruction of the world we live in. Uprisings against a violent police state. But what I want to know is, have you heard of our Lord and Savior, Kyle Lowry, Canada's ass?
Yeah, I like that.
Give it a solid 8.
Yeah, I give it about that too. Thank you very much for listening. It is we're I'm already surprised we're at like 3 episodes into 100. I feel like episode 200 is going to come a lot faster.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to blink and
We've
we'll
been
be at 200.
picking up momentum.
Somehow making time go faster, which you're welcome because this year needs to fucking end.
Yeah, it's almost 2021. And I do love how a lot of people are like, well, I can't wait till this year's over. As if 2021 will magically be better.
Yeah, as if like at the stroke of midnight on December 31st, it's going to be like Corona gets eradicated. It's like
Yeah.
we're not on like a timer where it's like survive as long as you can. And then like when we wind down the clock, it's like you did it.
Yeah.
Here's this really great year. Everything's chocolate.
Yeah, like it's not like we're in like horde mode and we just have to survive till 2021 and that's like bing, completed, 500 experience. Here's a new weapon.
Although if that does happen, I hope I get a bow.
That's fair. Thank you to Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities for their song Paper Stars. And it's funny because I feel like I say it the exact same way every episode, so it just sounds like you recorded me saying it once and edited it in. It also just happens randomly.
Maybe I do, maybe I don't. You'll never know. If you want to send us a question for us to answer, please hit us up on Facebook at facebook.com/FCK Buddies Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at FCK_Buddies. You can hit us up on Gmail at fbuddiespodcast@gmail.com, or you can visit us online at fbuddiespodcast.com. All right, here was sex rating.
All right. Cookie's not like all the women that Clay's been with. Nothing, Emma. Not just with regard to lovemaking, but with other things as well. For instance, me want cookies? Means just that. There's no second guessing, no reading between the lines, no wondering if his request for cookies is the result of something he's done wrong, if he'll wind up sleeping on the couch before the night is through, seeking comfort in someone else's bed, something he's not done since he's been with Cookie. It's not a complex code Clay needs to decipher. Nookie won't be withheld if he brings Cookie ginger snaps instead of shortbread, though the monster Clay has discovered in their time together is partial to chocolate chip cookies and despises oatmeal raisin unless they're slathered in icing. The sweeter the better. The phrase, me want Clay, is easy enough to understand as well. There's no need to overthink things or consider mood when it comes to sex and what Cookie wants. The monster is surprisingly communicative in bed, creative, and flexible. Likewise, nom nom requires little interpretation on Clay's part. And for some reason, the sound of Cookie's enjoyment as he stuffs his face with a plate full of cookies makes Clay hard and horny as fuck.
Freudian slip.
Of course, that might be something to do with the fact that Cookie makes the same sound when he's got Clay's dick in his mouth, when he's working his tongue into Clay's ass, loosening the tight ring of muscles for fucking. It isn't love. At least Clay doesn't think it is. Doesn't want to think too much about it because Cookie hasn't asked him for a qualification of what it is that they do have together. Hasn't pressured Clay to label it, not like a woman would. No, it isn't love, most likely. What he and Cookie do have going on between them is close enough. Makes Clay want to stay and figure out what the hell it is they do have. And fuck, he isn't the woman in all of this. Neither is Cookie. And it's weird not having a woman involved. Nom nom. Cookie devours his second plate of sugar cookies, rousing Clay from his thoughts. Crumbs fly everywhere. Shouldn't be a turn on, but it is. Shouldn't cause Clay to have to pop the fly on his jeans and settle back against the couch cushions, adjust himself. Clay bites his lip, digs his toes into the plush carpet, takes the half cookie his lover offers him and stuffs it in his mouth. Crumbs fall from his lips, land in his lap, and he belches at the same time that Cookie does. Synchronized belching. Fuck. Maybe this is love after all.
That is the key. That is the indicator. I mean, other than like the weird, like no woman talk. Again, this is still a very healthy relationship.
Yeah, the fact's like not like a woman would. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
god, you know it was written in fucking when was it written? Like 2012. Never mind. Still.
Also, when he's like, "Oh, there's no guessing what cookies mean," it's like I'm pretty sure the first time cookies meant sex, now cookies actually mean cookies. Because to me, that seems like a big difference. Someone's like, "I want cookies," and you're like, "All right," and then you go to fuck them, and they're like, "What are you doing? I just wanted a treat, you fucking maniac!" Like that to me. Also, the way he's like, "Oh, he's excellent at communication." That's like he says like 4 things. That's all. Yeah.
Me hold you forever.
Also, can I just the other thing where he's like, "Oh, it sounds like he's got him in his like the same noise he makes when he eats cookies, the same noise he makes when he has his dick in his mouth." It's like, Cookie. Have you seen Cookie Monster eat cookies? Do you remember what he does? There is no way. I would rather Cardi B soggy my dick up than let Cookie Monster fucking
crunch it,
chow down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, let's end this bad boy. Do you remember Paula Deen? Do you know who Paula Deen is?
No.
She's like the Southern cooking woman. She also ended up being like super racist. But she like everything was just like deep fried and covered in butter. And this is important because Paula Deen on Pornhub says that girl is so skinny. She definitely needs more butter. My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Nas Fan.
We've been your fuck buddies.
Nom 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 nom.